Christmas time brings back fond memories, one of which is the annual Christmas fruit bowl and nut bowl that my grandmother would make every single year. First, she would take a big bowl and then she would line it with assorted nuts. But this year when I went to the store shopping, they no longer had a bag of assorted nuts. They had a bag of walnuts and then they had a bag of almonds. But they didn't have any other nuts in a shell besides peanuts. So this year I got peanuts to line the bottom. Then I took a couple of mandarins and put those in the bowl. I also added a couple of pears in different colors and then a couple of apples to finish this layer. Next I add an orange and I begin layer number 2. I add a few walnuts, a few almonds, and then I start the process over again with some mandarins. And then I add some apples. And now at this point, I'm going to add more mandarins because I have more of those than anything. So now the bowl is starting to fill in nicely, and I'm going to add a couple of apples. I add another orange to the middle, and then I add another layer of almonds and walnuts. I add the last of the mandarins. Then I add 2 more oranges. Then I add the rest of the apples. I add another layer of nuts. Find a place for the last 2 pears. I add a bunch of green grapes and red grapes. And then I cover the whole bowl with a bunch of bananas. Then I set the bowl in the middle of the table on top of a small doily. And that is my family's tradition, the annual Christmas fruit bowl. Even though I could not find a traditional bag of mixed nuts this year at Christmas time, I made my own with the leftover peanuts, almonds, and walnuts in a shell, and I served them in a pretty bowl with some nutcrackers. I hope you learned a tip or two. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.